Hi, I'm Cassandra, or Mistress Cass, as some of you know me. I'm here today for a short, very short video again, just introducing the topic of titles, honorifics in kink BDSM, and kind of exploring what those might be for you personally, not like a anthropological view of them or anything. This is more about you figuring out your titles, your honorifics, or at least what they mean to you, the ones you already have. So we're just going to go through this topic a little bit. Please take time to pause this video and digest the questions, example questions I offer. Take time to process and kind of maybe journal about these topics, whatever works for you. So what is a title? What's in a title? A title can be an honorific, kind of like sir, master, mistress, like what I use. But it can also be, something like daddy or kitten, things like that. Generally, titles are about a relationship you have, whether that relationship is with one other person, a group of people, or a whole community. It can also be a calling, a symbol of who you are. I use Mistress Cass as my title and name in kink and BDSM. I don't think anyone is ever required to call me mistress, unless they're in a sub-slave relationship with me and we've agreed to that. Even if I was covered by a community and given the title of mistress or master by a community, I still wouldn't require anyone, even in that community, to call me mistress. I think it is very much like a personal agreement thing for me. So me, I'm fine with people just call me Cass. I don't. If you miss Cass, mistress, just Cass, whatever. And for me, it is more of a fluid thing because I understand these titles and honorifics mean different things for different people. And I don't want someone using a title for me that actually hurts them or makes them feel uncomfortable, because then it's not like getting to why I use mistress as a title. Because why I use mistress for me personally is more about empowering the submissives in my life, obviously. So what's in your title? Some of us might already have some titles like dom, master, sub, what all that is. Consider your title. Consider what you use now, maybe ones you've used in the past. Take a minute to kind of think about why is it important to you. Maybe discuss with your friends why your title is important to you or what does it speak about you. Next topic, though, is to discuss the how or why of titles. Titles, like I just said, can mean different things, even if it's the same word for different people. So it can be, how you see yourself. I see myself as a mistress. It can be how others see you. So maybe others see you as a sub and you're just kind of comfortable with that label. It could be how a community sees you. Like I mentioned with covering as a community act, now that label, that title, that honorific is a community title. But at the same time, these titles and honorifics can just be what feels right to you, what jives in your bones and makes you feel good. Though sometimes when you are new to kink and BDSM and you adopt a title that has a lot of oomph to it, like a lot of weight to it and sacredness to some people, you might be viewed as not someone worthwhile if you are very new and you're using these titles without a lot of experience. And why? Because people think you don't respect the lifestyle. That's why. It's not necessarily it's wrong, we think, for you to use that title, especially if it's a bedroom thing and it gets you hot and steamy and you're enjoying it. That's fine, whatever. But so many people take titles and honorifics very seriously. They take them as a sacred duty, honestly. And when someone really new or really young, really inexperienced comes in and says, I'm a master, but they don't know what that means, really, not even to themselves. and they claim this, and they claim it in a way that makes people think they want to be just called master without the work, that's when this new master, one true dominant, is going to likely not have a lot of new friends in the community. So of those like things I mentioned, how you see yourself, how others see you, how community sees you, what feels right, do one of those four kind of like jump out at you as why you use a title? So now let's go a little more in depth and explore the title. Exploring, the fact that we can pick whatever title we want. It can be even like a title that doesn't usually typically belong to kink, though, there might be some cultural things you need to be aware of there. You can also reject titles. If someone gives you a title, you don't have to take it. You can be like, that doesn't feel right. It might make you just like cringe, and that's not okay either. Generally, we live in, a culture that has a general understanding of different words' meanings. Words mean what they mean in a larger culture, but your own definitions and your own use of these titles and honorifics are super personal. You might have a different definition for your title versus another person who uses the same exact title. That's okay, but that might cause some confusion if you are actually trying to have relationships with people in this community, and like they have a similar title to you and you disagree very much on what the title means. Also, titles or even names in the scene change with time, and they change with relationships. I wasn't always Mistress Cass. Before Mistress Cass, I was Miss Cass. I became Mistress when I married and colored my boy 24/7. There's a lot of transition in identity throughout life normally. So it makes total sense that as you evolve in your life, you would have different titles and different names. That's okay. That's probably a good thing, honestly, that if you're dedicated to growth, you would be changing. Before I was Miss Cass, I used Miss Succuba as my name because that allowed me to work in a different field with a little more privacy around my like legal name. And my first name in the scene didn't really fit me, and that was okay too. Like, it was Miss Blythe, and that wasn't bad, but it didn't really fit my soul of what I was. It didn't fit me. So eventually it did change. Also, I want to note that when you're exploring your titles, you do want to take into account cultural specifics of your area, your kink circle, your other cultures intermeshed with it, because different titles and different things, again, mean different things in different areas and different worlds. So if I still lived in the Northeast, if I lived on the West Coast, I might still be using Miss Cass as my title. But I live in the South, I live in Texas, and Miss is infantilizing a lot here in the South, unfortunately. I really loved using the title Miss, but often when I would use the title Miss, I was looked down on as very young, very inexperienced. It wasn't at the same level as like mistress in larger society. And so when I kind of grew into who I was as a dominant and mistress, I kind of felt like, okay, because of my cultural context of where I am and what I'm doing with my life, it might be better to go with mistress. And it kind of felt right to me too. What about your title is like specific to your area, your culture, your geography? Think about that for a little bit. Now, let's go a little bit more into motivation. The motivations for why we use titles. As I mentioned, I kind of like using my title as a guiding post, a sacred duty of who I am, what I'm about. So I think Mistress Cass guides my growth, and it feels right to me. That's my motivation. A title can also honor a relationship or a community role, like I mentioned. I really adore using the title mistress in my like sacred duty sense, because I feel like it honors my relationship with kind of protecting subby people of the world in this harsh world, and then guiding them in this world. And to me, that is a sacred duty and very important to me. Some people, their only motivation for using a certain title might be because a different title that was similar made them cringe and they hated it. And they're like, you know what? Fuck, no, I'm going to use something else. And therefore, it's just the better of the bag of things for them. So take a second, think about your motivation for your title and the honorifics and names you use. And then finally, take a second to think about, who are you today? As I mentioned, names, titles, honorifics change. They usually, or should maybe, reflect who you are in that moment, in that time. So who are you today? Does it match up with your title and honorific? Is it is it the fact that you are a warrior and of sorts, whatever the warrior sort you are, and your name is like, I don't know, soft kitten loves pets? Maybe that doesn't match up then in your mind, that, you know, softness and warrior. Some people it might though. So kind of think about who you are, what's important to you, and if it lines up with your chosen title and honorific. It may not. You have my permission to change your title or honorific or even your name at any point in kink culture. Like, change is natural, and we want people to be growing and constantly endeavoring to understand themselves and this crazy awesome kinky world we're all playing in together. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short video on titles and honorifics. If you want to reach out to me for whether it is pleasure or love coaching, teaching us some classes to your group, or reaching out for anything else, please reach out. I am Mistress Cass on a number of platforms, intersectional Miss Cass. I have my Gmail you're welcome to reach out to as well. I'm happy to hear from everyone, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.